Why do humans desire to be loved, yet find it difficult to accept real love? Hello, everyone. Today we will explore one of the most fundamental contradictions of human existence. While we all want to be loved, we often find it difficult to accept genuine love when it comes to us. This is like the paradox of someone who has been thirsting for water for a long time, but is afraid to drink when they finally find it. This contradiction is not just a simple psychological phenomenon. It stems from deep within human nature and is a complex, multi-layered issue. Today, we will analyze various aspects of this phenomenon, examining why humans find it difficult to accept the love they so desperately crave, and how we might overcome this contradiction. Chapter 1. The nature of love and human longing. Humans are inherently relational beings. Research across various disciplines, including anthropology, psychology, and neuroscience, consistently shows that humans grow and develop through social connections and attachments. From birth, we seek connection with others. Infants instinctively look at their mother's face and respond to her expressions. From these early stages, we have a deep desire to feel emotionally connected to others. According to psychologist John Bowlby's attachment theory, human attachment formation is an evolutionary mechanism for survival. A child forms a stable relationship with their caregiver, creating a secure base from which they can explore the outside world. These early attachment experiences become the model for relationships in adulthood. Interestingly, our brains process physical and social pain through the same neural circuits. The experience of a relationship breaking with a loved one triggers neurological responses similar to actual physical pain. This suggests that the absence of love is not simply emotional discomfort, but an experience that causes biological pain in humans. Meanwhile, neuroscientists have discovered that the hormone oxytocin plays an important role in love and bonding. This hormone is secreted during childbirth, breastfeeding, and sexual intimacy, strengthening trust and bonds between people. These biological mechanisms are evidence that humans instinctively seek love and connection. From a more cynical perspective, our longing for love could be seen as a kind of biological deception. From an evolutionary standpoint, love might simply be a tool for species preservation and gene transfer. But this doesn't diminish the experience or importance of love. Rather, it shows how deeply love is rooted in our existence. Chapter 2. Memories of past wounds. The first reason for difficulty in accepting love relates to past wounds. Most of us experience both large and small wounds throughout life. Experiences of rejection by parents in childhood, failure of first love, betrayal by friends, breakups with lovers. These experiences leave deep marks on our psyche. Psychologist Alexander Lowen said, "Wounds leave scars on the mind. These emotional scars don't completely disappear with time and affect new relationships. People who have experienced past wounds unconsciously activate defense mechanisms in similar situations. This is a form of emotional conditioning, a process of forming conditioned responses to specific stimuli. For example, a child who didn't receive consistent love from parents may grow to distrust others' love as an adult, feeling it could be withdrawn at any time. Such a person might fear fully opening themselves in intimate relationships and unconsciously distance themselves. Freud called this repetition compulsion. It refers to people's tendency to unconsciously repeat past traumas. By reenacting wounded experiences, we attempt to control or overcome that wound. However, this paradoxically makes it more difficult for us to accept genuine love. From a more cynical perspective, this could be a self-protection mechanism, like a burned hand avoiding fire. The problem is that not all fires are harmful. Sometimes that fire could warm us. From a neuropsychological perspective, traumatic experiences can cause long-term changes in emotional processing areas of the brain, such as the amygdala. This leads to excessive vigilance responses to stimuli similar to past wounding situations. This is an instinctive survival mechanism, but it can function dysfunctionally in human relationships. Chapter 3. Feelings of unworthiness and self-distrust. The second reason is feelings of unworthiness and self-distrust. Many people have a deep unconscious belief that they are not worthy of love. These beliefs can form from childhood and continue into adulthood. Alfred Adler explained this phenomenon through the concept of inferiority. According to Adler, all humans experience inferiority in childhood due to their helplessness and dependency. This inferiority may be overcome during the growth process, but sometimes it develops into deep self-distrust. Self-distrust manifests as a self-fulfilling prophecy. A person who believes, "I am not worthy of love," will actually reject love or test people who love them, thereby reinforcing that belief. Psychoanalyst Karen Horney called this basic anxiety. It refers to a fundamental distrust and fear of the world and others. People with this anxiety find it difficult to trust others' genuine love and concern. Let's use a dental example. We visit a dentist when we have a toothache. The dentist proposes treatment to alleviate our pain, but many people postpone or avoid dental visits out of fear of the treatment process. This is behavior that sacrifices long-term health to avoid temporary pain. Not accepting love is similar. Out of fear of potential emotional vulnerability, we give up the long-term satisfaction and growth that love brings. The Talmud in Judaism says, "We see the world differently depending on what kind of person we are." This means that a person who considers themselves unworthy will view even sincere love through a lens of doubt and distrust. Objectively, it's quite ironic. We don't accept love because we consider ourselves worthless, and because of that rejection behavior, we feel even more worthless. It's a vicious cycle, like overly dry soil that cannot absorb water. Chapter 4. Real love demands change. The third reason is fear of the changes and responsibilities that genuine love brings. Real love is not just emotion or pleasure. It gives us freedom while simultaneously demanding responsibility. German philosopher Erich Fromm said in his book, The Art of Loving, "Love is an active power between two beings, overcoming each other's isolation and separation while allowing each to maintain their wholeness." This means that true love is not about possessing or controlling the other person, but a relationship that promotes mutual growth and development. However, this growth-oriented love inevitably entails change. Truly loving another person means giving up one's comfort and familiarity and opening oneself to new possibilities. This becomes an object of fear for many people. Existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre said, "Hell is other people." This famous quote emphasizes how relationships with others can cause discomfort and anxiety. Others objectify us, limit our freedom, and impose responsibilities on us. These aspects are more pronounced in loving relationships. Love demands a paradigm shift from living for oneself to living for us. This means a deep level of self-reconstruction. Many people fear this change and consequently fail to accept true love. From a somewhat cynical perspective, we all tend to live as protagonists in a universe centered on ourselves. Accepting someone else's love is like introducing another important character into this story where I am the protagonist. And any story becomes more complicated when there are more characters. As a real-life example, consider the confusion experienced by someone who has lived as a single person for a long time. When they suddenly enter a deep relationship, that person now has to consider their partner in all decisions, share their space and time, and sometimes readjust their priorities. This is a big change, and many people fear such changes. Chapter 5. Fear of vulnerability. The fourth reason is fear of vulnerability. Accepting true love means revealing all aspects of oneself. Weaknesses, flaws, wounds, fears. This can feel very dangerous. Sociologist Brené Brown argues in her research that vulnerability is key to true connection and intimacy. Yet many people view vulnerability as a sign of weakness and try to avoid it. According to Brown, vulnerability involves behaviors that involve uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. But vulnerability is also the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity. This suggests that vulnerability has a duality. On one hand, it's dangerous and frightening, but on the other hand, it provides opportunities for deep connection and growth. From a psychological perspective, fear of vulnerability is part of ego defense mechanisms. Our ego builds various defenses to protect itself from threats and wounds. These defenses may help avoid pain in the short term, but in the long term, they hinder true connection and growth. Frankly speaking, humans are generally hypocritical beings. We all want to be loved, yet refuse to show the vulnerability and openness needed to receive that love. This is a contradictory behavior, like wanting to sunbathe, but refusing to take off your clothes. This contradiction is especially pronounced in modern society. Social media and digital communication allow us to selectively share only what we want others to see. As a result, we become increasingly unfamiliar with showing vulnerability, and consequently, our ability to form genuine connections decreases. Chapter 6. Fear of losing control. The fifth reason is fear of losing control. Love inherently includes unpredictable and uncontrollable elements. Loving another person and accepting their love means giving up some control. Psychologist Carl Jung said, "Falling in love is the inevitable realization that you are not yourself. This means that love blurs our ego boundaries and makes us part of something larger. The desire for control is related to the human instinctive fear of uncertainty. We feel safe when we think we can control our emotions, thoughts, and actions. However, love threatens this control. When we fall in love, we sometimes become irrational and act in unpredictable ways. Our mood, thoughts, and even physical responses are influenced by another person. This state can be very uncomfortable for people who value control. Also, love always implies the possibility of rejection and loss. When we love someone and accept their love, we expose ourselves to the possibility that they may leave or betray us. This uncertainty evokes fear in many people. Coldly thinking, this is like winning the lottery, but having to reveal all your secrets to receive the money. No matter how great the reward, completely revealing yourself requires great courage. Chapter 7. Sociocultural influences. The sixth reason is the influence of the society and culture we live in. Modern society often emphasizes individualism, independence, and self-fulfillment. These values can lead to negative perceptions of dependency and vulnerability. Cultural anthropologist Margaret Mead studied differences in perceptions of love and relationships across various cultures. According to her research, in individualistic cultures, love is often seen as a matter of individual choice and satisfaction, while in collectivist cultures, love is understood within a larger social context. In modern Western society, self-fulfillment and personal achievement are highly valued. In such an environment, acknowledging dependency or emotional needs for others can be seen as a sign of weakness. This makes it difficult for many people, especially men, to acknowledge and express their emotional needs. Also, modern media and popular culture often idealize or simplify love. Genres like romantic comedies create the illusion that love has magical power to solve all problems. Such unrealistic expectations can leave us unprepared for the complexity and challenges that real love brings. Meanwhile, the rapid changes and instability of modern society make long-term relationship formation more difficult. Increased job mobility, the spread of digital communication, and the weakening of traditional community structures make it more complicated to form and maintain deep and lasting relationships. As ordinary digital age consumers, we live in a world of immediate gratification where we can get almost anything with a single click. But love is different. Love requires time, effort, patience, and continuous investment. This discrepancy makes many people uncomfortable with the process of true love. Chapter 8. Perfectionism and Idealization. The seventh reason is perfectionism and idealization. Many people have unrealistic expectations about love and relationships. They seek perfect love or an ideal partner and find it difficult to accept imperfect real love. Psychologist Maslow placed self-actualization at the top level in his hierarchy of human needs theory. He saw self-actualization as possible only after basic needs like love and belonging were met. However, many people reverse this order, thinking they deserve love only after they become perfect. This perfectionist thinking is heavily influenced by modern consumer culture and media. Advertisements, movies, TV programs often show idealized images of love and relationships. These images are detached from reality, but deeply influence our expectations. Philosopher Alain de Botton criticized in his book, The Course of Love, that romantic consumerism teaches us that love is something to discover, not something to learn. This means we come to view love as a commodity, continuously looking for a better option. Ironically, this perfectionist thinking further highlights our dissatisfaction and flaws. We come to think we don't deserve true love because we're not good enough. Also, it prevents us from accepting others' imperfections, causing us to miss opportunities for love that actually exist. Amusingly, this is like refusing to enter water because you haven't perfectly learned to swim. Swimming can only be learned by entering the water, and love can only be learned by experiencing it. The idea of starting love after becoming perfect is as contradictory as wanting to drive perfectly before driving a car. Chapter 9. Internalized shame. The eighth reason is internalized shame. Shame is not simply feeling that you've done something wrong, i.e., guilt, but a deep belief that you are inherently flawed and inadequate. Psychologists Sylvan Tompkins and Donald Nathanson argued that shame is one of the most powerful negative emotions. Shame directly affects our self-identity, making us perceive ourselves as worthless and undeserving of love. Shame often arises from childhood experiences. Consistent criticism, neglect, or abuse from parents, caregivers, or significant others can instill deep shame. This shame formed in childhood persists into adulthood, forming negative perceptions of oneself. Psychologist James Harper described shame as a poison of relationships. Shame prevents us from truly connecting with others and results in isolating ourselves. People with internalized shame often fear that if I show my real self, no one will love me. This fear prevents them from forming genuine intimacy. This psychological mechanism is quite a cunning self-protection device. It's like saying, "You won't love me anyway, so I'll push you away first." The problem is that this defensive attitude ultimately makes our most feared situation, isolation and loneliness, a reality. Chapter 10. Religious and Spiritual Perspectives on Love. Finally, let's examine the issue of love from religious and spiritual perspectives. In many religious traditions, love is considered a central value. However, these traditions also offer deep insights into human imperfection and the difficulty of accepting love. Christianity emphasizes God's unconditional agape love. This is perfect, and self-sacrificial love different from conditional human love. However, the Bible says that humans struggle to accept this divine love. John 3:19-20 says, "Light has come into the world, but people loved darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil. Everyone who does evil hates the light and will not come into the light for fear that their deeds will be exposed." This means humans avoid the light of truth and love out of fear of revealing their imperfections and sins. Buddhism distinguishes between attachment and true love. Attachment stems from the desire to possess and control and becomes a source of suffering. In contrast, true love is free and unconditional giving. According to Buddhist teachings, many people confuse attachment with love and fail to experience true love. In Hinduism's Bhagavad Gita, the concept of karma yoga emphasizes the importance of detached action. This means acting without attachment to results and can be applied to loving relationships. True love is giving without expecting reward or results. Judaism emphasizes Ben Adam Lechavero, the relationship between humans, and Ben Adam Lamakom, the relationship between humans and God. According to this teaching, the quality of human relationships affects the relationship with God, and vice versa. The ability to truly love others is connected to the ability to accept divine love. Islam distinguishes between Allah's unconditional love, rahmah, mercy, and human conditional love, mahabbah, love. In the Islamic mystical tradition of Sufism, experiencing this divine love through union with God is considered the ultimate goal. These religious perspectives commonly teach that human love is imperfect and conditional, but there is a need to pursue a higher dimension of unconditional love. They also emphasize that overcoming self-centered fears and attachments is essential to experiencing true love. Perhaps the persistence of these teachings over thousands of years suggests that human difficulty in accepting love is not limited to modern society, but is a universal aspect of the human condition. Chapter 11. Accepting love. A practical approach. Now that we've examined the reasons why humans desire to be loved, yet find it difficult to accept real love, how can we overcome these difficulties and accept genuine love? Self-awareness and acceptance. The first step is self-awareness and acceptance. Psychologist Carl Rogers said, "When I accept myself as I am, I can change." When we recognize and accept our fears, anxieties, and defense mechanisms, we can begin to overcome them. Self-awareness means observing and understanding your emotions and behavior patterns. You can explore your inner world through methods like meditation, journaling, and psychotherapy. Self-acceptance means embracing all your strengths and weaknesses, successes, and failures. It means abandoning perfectionism and self-criticism and acknowledging imperfection as a human. American poet Walt Whitman wrote, "Do I contradict myself? Very well, then I contradict myself. I'm large. I contain multitudes." This expresses the spirit of self-acceptance, accepting all aspects of oneself. Practicing vulnerability. The second step is practicing vulnerability. Brené Brown said, "While vulnerability does involve uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure, it is also the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity." Practicing vulnerability means lowering your defenses and showing your true self to others. This may feel frightening and uncomfortable at first, but over time, it enables deeper connection and genuine intimacy. Vulnerability can start with small steps. You can begin by sharing your fears or hopes with trusted friends or family, or asking for help when needed. Important in practicing vulnerability is choosing the right person and the right time. You don't need to reveal everything to everyone. It's important to show vulnerability gradually in relationships of trust and mutual respect. Healing past wounds. The third step is healing past wounds. Past traumas or wounds can continue to affect current relationships. Recognizing and healing these wounds is important to being open to new possibilities of love. Psychotherapy, counseling, and support groups can help explore and heal past wounds. Also, forgiveness toward yourself and others plays an important role in becoming free from past wounds. Psychologist Edna Hong said, "Forgiveness is not changing the past, but expanding the future. Forgiveness allows you to move toward new possibilities instead of continuing to be caught in past wounds." Gradual exposure and safe boundaries. The fourth step is gradual exposure and setting safe boundaries. Accepting love doesn't have to happen all at once. You can start with small steps and gradually form deeper levels of intimacy. The gradual exposure technique used in cognitive behavioral therapy is effectively used to treat phobias. Similarly, fear of love can be overcome through gradual exposure. At the same time, it's important to set healthy boundaries. Boundaries are for protecting yourself, but also provide a framework that enables genuine connection. Psychologists Henry Cloud and John Townsend explain, "Boundaries define beginnings and endings, and they tell you who you are and who is responsible." Healthy boundaries include the ability to clearly say yes and no, the ability to recognize and express your feelings and needs, and the ability to respect others' boundaries. Spiritual approach. The fifth step is approaching the issue of love from a spiritual dimension. Many religions and spiritual traditions emphasize the concept of unconditional love. This love is given without conditions or qualifications, unlike conditional human love. In the Christian tradition, God's unconditional love becomes the model for human love. 1 John 4:19 says, "We love because he first loved us." This means that by accepting divine love, we become able to love others. Buddhism recommends developing unconditional love toward all beings through the practice of compassion and love. This practice begins with love and acceptance of oneself and gradually extends to all beings. In Hinduism's Bhagavad Gita, the path of bhakti, or devotional love, seeks union with God. This means unconditional love and devotion beyond personal desires or attachments. The spiritual approach recognizes that love transcends simple emotion or relationship and connects to a deeper dimension of existence. This can provide a wider context and meaning in accepting love. Chapter 12. Biblical Perspective on Love. The Bible provides deep insights into the nature of love and human difficulty in accepting it. Love is one of the core themes throughout the Bible, and the tension between God's unconditional love and human limited understanding is frequently revealed. 1 Corinthians 13 describes the characteristics of love. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. This emphasizes that true love is not conditional or self-centered. However, humans often fall short of this high standard and remain in conditional love that prioritizes their own interests or safety. 1 John 4:18 says, "There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love." This suggests that true love and fear cannot coexist. Many people cannot accept love precisely because of this fear. Romans 8:38-39 says, "For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything else in all creation, will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. This emphasizes that God's love is unconditional and unchanging. However, humans often struggle to accept this unconditional love. Ezekiel 16 describes how God loved Israel, but Israel continually rejected that love and followed other gods. This symbolically shows how humans struggle to recognize and accept true love. Among Jesus' parables, the parable of the prodigal son, in Luke 15, vividly depicts a father's unconditional love and the son's difficulty accepting it. The younger son took his father's love for granted and left home, only to realize its value after losing everything. The older son was with his father, but didn't truly understand the nature of his love. Both sons, in their own ways, failed to fully accept their father's love. The story of the rich young man in Matthew 19:16-22 is another example. When Jesus told him to sell everything, give to the poor, and follow him, he left sorrowfully. He received Jesus' love and invitation, but wasn't prepared to accept the change it required. The Bible also teaches that accepting God's love involves change and growth. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, His good, pleasing, and perfect will." Thus, the Bible emphasizes that love is not simply an emotion or state, but an active force that transforms our entire being. And resistance to this change often becomes the reason we fail to accept true love. Chapter 13. Conclusion. Beyond the paradox of love. So far, we've explored various reasons why humans desire to be loved, yet find it difficult to accept real love. This is not a simple contradiction, but a deep paradox reflecting the complexity of human nature and relationships. Love can be both our deepest desire and our greatest fear. Love provides us safety and belonging, yet simultaneously demands vulnerability and uncertainty. Love sets us free, yet imposes responsibility. Overcoming this paradox requires courage. Philosopher Paul Tillich said, "Courage is moving forward despite fear." Accepting love is an act of courage, choosing to open your heart and become vulnerable despite fear. Also, accepting true love requires self-awareness and growth. In the process of recognizing and overcoming your fears, defense mechanisms, and limited beliefs, you can experience love at a deeper level. Above all, remember that love is not simply an emotion or state, but a matter of choice and practice. Philosopher Erich Fromm said, "Love is not a passive feeling, but an active deed. It is not falling, but staying." The Bible says in 1 John 4:16, "God is love." Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. This suggests that love transcends simple emotion or relationship, and is a fundamental state of existence. Ultimately, the human contradiction of wanting to be loved, yet finding it difficult to accept real love, stems from our limited perception and fear. However, when we recognize and overcome these limitations, we can move toward a deeper and more genuine experience of love. 1 Corinthians 13:12 beautifully expresses this process. "For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known." This suggests that our understanding and experience of love is limited now, but can continue to grow and deepen. And at the end of this journey awaits an experience of being fully known and fully loved. All questions and answers about the nature of love ultimately return to the Bible's teachings. John 15:13 says, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." This shows that the essence of true love lies in self-sacrifice and dedication. Ultimately, accepting love is not simply an emotional response, but a matter of conscious choice and commitment. When we move beyond fear and defense to accept vulnerability and reveal ourselves as we are, we can experience the depth and power of true love. Psalm 139 verse 14 says, "I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made." This reminds us that each of us has intrinsic value as God's creation and deserves to be loved. When we accept this fundamental truth, we can more freely accept others' love as well. Closing. Everyone. Today, we've deeply explored why humans desire to be loved, yet find it difficult to accept real love. We've seen how various factors contribute to this contradictory behavior, including memories of past wounds, feelings of unworthiness and self-distrust, fear of change, burden of vulnerability, anxiety about loss of control, and more. But more importantly, we've considered practical ways to overcome these barriers. Self-awareness and acceptance, practicing vulnerability, healing past wounds, gradual exposure, and setting safe boundaries and spiritual approaches can all help us experience deeper and more genuine love. Above all, we've examined what the Bible teaches about the nature of love and how to accept it. The Bible teaches that God's unconditional love becomes the model for human love, and accepting and practicing this love is the true purpose of life. Love is not simply an emotion or relationship, but an active force that transforms our entire being. And this journey of transformation may sometimes be frightening and difficult, but it is an essential process for us to grow as true humans. I hope today's deep exploration has given you small insights for your life and relationships. In this complex and beautiful journey of love, I sincerely hope that we all can experience loving more deeply and being more completely loved. Thank you sincerely for staying with me until the end. If this audiobook has been helpful to you, please subscribe to our channel for more spiritual and psychological insights. Press the subscribe button and set up notifications to be the first to meet new content whenever it's uploaded. Your precious attention and love gives us great strength. I'll see you again in the next audiobook with a deeper topic. Thank you.